Hey everybody, it's me again. Um, the last night's video, I was going to try to get to the first president involved in corruption, and I didn't quite get that far, being that I was running out of time, and I forgot to mention that. I was not going to be able to get to that particular subject, but if you watched last night's video, you'll know what I'm talking about because you have already, seen it. But first, I want to talk about John Adams. John Adams was our second president. And in my opinion, he was one of the best presidents we had ever had. Of course, Thomas Jefferson tried to make a bad name for him. President Washington seemed not to mind him. Ben Franklin didn't seem to mind him much. But if it wasn't for John Adams' negotiations with the Dutch, we wouldn't be a country today. Because he tried to go and get a loan, per se. And France got mad at John Adams because he was a very flamboyant, very blunt man. And he said whatever was on his mind, and he didn't care if he was listening. Well, so basically he had to get out of France, otherwise they were going to find him and hang him till he was dead. So somehow he ended up over in Dutch country. And he came down with a case of pneumonia. And he had pleaded with their government to try and get a $10 million loan for America. Well, here's what it did. At first, the Dutch had said no, because America was fairly new and they couldn't secure that payment. They didn't have any security or collateral to cover for that payment that was going to need to be made by the United States. But after John Adams had gotten pneumonia, I guess they felt sorry for his happy butt, and they gave him the $10 million. And if that one solid event would not have happened, John Adams would not have gotten that $10 million. The United States would not exist today. Now, the second term, John Adams never spent a second term in office. I'll tell you this, though. I'll tell you what. The White House was under construction, okay, in John Adams' last maybe few months, give or take, could have been half a year, something like that. Well, Thomas Jefferson, he was a pretty popular guy. Well, the second election, I believe that John Adams would have got elected truly, but Thomas Jefferson threw John Adams under the bus because John Adams was going to sit in the White House first, and he did. Even though the White House was under construction, John Adams was the first president to actually sit and stay and live in the White House. And that nice fancy building y'all got over there in Washington, D.C. was the reason for our first corrupted situation in government, and it all started with your fabulous Thomas Jefferson. Now, so corruption has been in our government since the 1700s. There was no evidence of it with Washington's campaign or with Adams' campaign. But there sure is today, and it keeps getting worse, and it keeps getting worse. You never know when they're lying to you. Most of it, we have to assume isn't the truth. And for all you naive folks out there that believe every word they say, I feel darn sorry for you. Well, that wrapped up last video is what it did. So basically this is only going to be a half a video of the current night here. Now, I'll tell you what, our economy's going to hell. Um, have you ever heard of the Bonnie Blue flag? Look it up online if you haven't. I just wanted to mention that the South would have won the Civil War. The country's flag would not have been the Confederate flag. That would have been dedicated to Virginians. The Bonnie Blue flag, however, would have resembled the country. And it would have had its own anthem. And I'm going to close my video tonight with that particular song. I'm going to see if I can't pull it up here on a video and still talk to you at the same time, because I think you'd all like to hear it. But anyhow, boy, I just don't know what to say tonight. I guess I'm pretty speechless. Might have said everything I really needed to say. I know I haven't. I'm going to be creating more videos. Had a long day at work today, and I'm not intoxicated, as you can see. Anyhow, now, I want you to think about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and the hell that they had to go through to establish our country and to provide us freedoms and liberties. And look at what these leaders are doing today, destroying all their hard-earned work. Don't let them destroy their work. Don't let them do that. You wouldn't like it if I came in and tore down the house you just built, or what have you. It'd be the same scenario. One of these days, I might just get a wild hair at my butt and run for representative. If you guys would elect an old hillbilly, I swear to it, I'd be as straight up and honest with you as possible and do my very best to provide my people with exactly what they wanted. And in my district, my people would have a voice, because I wouldn't go to Washington and vote any other way. Being a politician, you can't be opinionated anymore, because it's the people that you're speaking for, not yourself. And I want you to know that next time an election comes up. When these people promise you everything, they're telling you what they want. Are they telling you what you want? Think about it like that. How about you tell them what you want, and then they say, I'm going to go to Washington and vote for that? How about they actually listen to you? How about they actually pick up the phone when they call? How about that? How about instead of talking to some secretary who's claiming you're always out of the office, how about talking to a real representative? How about talking to the man himself? Boy, I just don't know. I just don't know. If you people keep on voting Democrat or Republican, getting on the fence with that stuff, it's just going to tear this country apart. The party system's falling down, and you know it as well as I do. Step on board. Let's turn this country around. And if you at all agree with what I'm saying, get yourself a Bonnie Blue flag and fly it in your yard. That has no racist tags. They can't call you racist for flying that. And that would show everybody where you stand. I'm tired of it. One of these days, I'd be tickled pink to call this place the CSA, the Confederate States of America. Well, I hope you all agree with me. I know there's going to be some people that don't. But here's that Bonnie Blue Flag song. I'm going to give it a play, and I'm going to close out. Here she goes. The United States didn't want the Indians. They took the Indians out after they demolished the southern states. Free. That was the Indians' land they took. That was liberation. That was evil. Children and women and men. Now, they might not have spoke our language. They might not have lived like us. But regardless, they were people. And they had all rights to defend their homes, as we would have in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes next time you start thinking about something like that. Would you like to be forced out of your home? You put up a fight. And that's exactly what they did. Whether you live in a teepee or a house, whatever you call home. In the next show, I'm going to start talking about discipline. And not just for children, but for everybody in general. And the ways of old. The ways of old. Because we need to start getting back to the ways of old. We need to start getting back to the ways of old because you can't even touch your child without being accused of abuse anymore, and that's ridiculous. And as far as, that's what's wrong. Because people don't want to start cracking down on their kids. They're going to try to be what America, you're looking at America. Look at all them high school kids out there causing problems. You really want them running your country? That's another thing. So next week, or next, probably tomorrow, I don't know, I'll talk about discipline and some laws that the Democrats have created that have really stunk up the reputation of our country. And I'm going to close now. So long.